Let me switch back to your speech of 10 days ago, Governor Christie, your May 18th speech on defense. Rand Paul was appearing on Morning Joe yesterday, and he had this to say, which collides directly with what you had to say 10 days ago. Here's Senator Paul yesterday on Morning Joe.
Lindsey Graham would say ISIS exists because of people like Rand Paul, who said, let's not go into Syria. And what do you say to Lindsey?
I would say it's exactly the opposite. ISIS exists and grew stronger because of the hawks in our party who gave arms indiscriminately, and most of those arms were snatched up by ISIS. These hawks also wanted to bomb Assad, which would have made ISIS's job even easier. They created these people. ISIS is all over Libya because these same hawks in my party loved Hillary Clinton's war in Libya. They just wanted more of it. But Libya is a failed state, and it's a disaster. Iraq really is a failed state. We're a vassal state now of Iran. So everything that they've talked about in foreign policy, they've been wrong about for 20 years, and yet they have somehow the gall to keep saying and pointing fingers otherwise.
What do you think of that, Governor Christie?
I don't agree. In large part, I don't agree with Senator Paul's philosophy that was espoused there. The fact is this: to try to say that ISIS, which is based, their philosophy is based upon radical Islamic thought, was somehow created by folks here in the United States is just, to me, a statement that isn't backed up by any type of fact. And I think the senator is struggling to try to justify his positions on some issues which, he finds that not only folks in our party, but folks across the political spectrum in this country just simply don't agree with.
In your speech, you also called fears about the Patriot Act baloney, and I agree with you on that, by the way. Yet, it now hangs in the balance for up to 1 day to its lapsing when the Senate returns next week. What do you think ought to happen? Ought we had to pass the new House Act, or should Mitch McConnell stare down the critics of the Patriot Act?
I think he should stare down the critics of the Patriot Act. I absolutely believe, Hugh, of all the people who are engaging in this national conversation right now, I'm the only person who's used the Patriot Act, the only person who has reviewed applications, and the only person who has, convicted terrorists using in part the tools that we had in the Patriot Act. I could tell people, I think he said something, Senator Paul, today, like, people, we're spying on people. The fact of the matter is that what we're doing is collecting the appropriate type of data that we need to collect to try to see who in our country is talking to folks who have terrorist ties around the world. And, I don't understand and will not understand why he does not believe that this can be done while also having appropriate oversight and balancing whatever civil liberties concerns that we have. But first and foremost, we've got to protect the homeland. And I think that folks like those who are arguing against it have a severe case of amnesia of what this country felt like and what we experienced in the days after September 11th. Since I was nominated U.S. Attorney by President Bush on September 10th, 2001, I have no amnesia about what happened the next day, because I went to funerals in my home state where we lost the second most people other than the state of New York on September 11th, including personal friends of ours. I don't have amnesia about that either. And I think that whoever the next president is, they have to make sure that we protect the homeland.
Do you think Senator Paul has amnesia or a deep-seated ideology that fears the power of the state? Or both?
I think both. And because, believe me, I'm sure that there are folks up there, not just Senator Paul, but others, who are arguing against the extension of the Patriot Act, who, if, God forbid, we had another attack on the homeland, would be the first folks at congressional hearings calling up the FBI director and the CIA director under oath and demanding to know why they didn't connect the dots. And they wouldn't understand the difficulty that they caused in helping to make that happen. And so, I think it's both.